Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts A9. Well, this was a really great episode of Quantum Leap. Season 1, episode 13. And I just realised these shows actually air on a Monday. I've been looking for them on Thursday or Friday. And I thought, they changed to Mondays. I'm like, I look back, I'm like, no, they've always been on Mondays. So I've been finding them like a week late, so, oh well. But yeah, and also the numbers are really interesting. The overall ratings have gone straight down, but the like initial ratings, like the actual viewing, the people actually watching on TV, they went down a bit, but they've been sitting around the same level and going up and down for the last couple of weeks. So I'm not sure how it's doing in the ratings, but the show is getting better. This episode had a really strong emotional life to it. Basically, Ben leaps into the body of the eldest daughter of a family of Indian immigrants who are running a restaurant, and the father has died the year before. The mother is trying to keep everything together, and she is in kind of panic mode and being very prideful and not letting anyone help her, and she's driving everyone away. There's one daughter who wants to step in and be a chef and run the restaurant, basically. And she's not letting her do anything, change anything from what the father had set up. And the oldest daughter, who, Ben has leapt into, she kind of has to try and negotiate, because it gets to the point where the daughter actually walks out and just, it's like, you don't want me here, you don't need me here, I'm just going to go. And this is right when they have a landlord who's like so dodgy she's got her own henchmen. She's basically threatening to shut them down if they don't pay up on the lease, and they are like 30,000 behind. So I can't remember her name, but Ben promises that they have a big event on, and they'll give them the money directly from that night's takings. If she'll hold off, because they find out that that lady burns the restaurant down, and she eventually goes to jail for burning down some of her other properties for the insurance. But they just have to keep the restaurant from burning down that night. So he finds Groupon, which is a new thing, of course, that no one else is onto, and he gets them signed up to that, and they get a lot of people coming in. But of course, the mother is still holding the reins, and she won't let the daughters do anything. And that's when the daughter actually walks out, because she's won't let her do any of the new food, and she thinks that's what they're going to need to get these new customers to stay with them and come back and be repeat customers. Eventually the mother cuts her hand, and after trying to work with it for a while, realises she's cut it worse than she thought, and she passes out. And this is all very traumatizing to Ben, who feels very much that she's, like his mother, the stereotypical, immigrant mother who, is, working so hard and doing everything for the kids, and he has some moments with her which are parallel, and he gets to sort of deal with the issues he never dealt with his mother, because he was too young and didn't get to articulate any of the things that he needed to. Actually gets to say some of the things to her that he needed to say to his mother. He eventually talks her, she passes out on the ground, and he sort of freezes, because it's exactly the same scenario that he's like, it looks exactly like how he found his mother after she had a brain hemorrhage. So he gets through that. He talks her into basically letting the daughter have some freedom with the menu, and talking to their relatives. They've got relatives who she's been shutting out because she felt that they were pretentious or judgmental or something, and they really just want to help. So he helped her sort of take down her pride and let these people in to help them. And right when they're about to do that, they're at another restaurant, having pizza lunch. And they go back to the restaurant, and it's on fire, and it blows up. And I'm like, so emotionally invested in this. I'm like upset for them. I'm like, what the hell? How? What are they going to do? How are they going to get out of this? How can they fix this? Just getting the situation they were in to the situation they needed to be still could have been the whole episode. They didn't need to blow the whole place up. I'm like, how are they going to? Basically, they sort of created or jumped on like the pop-up thing, and they found a wedding that reception, and they basically hired them to keep their setup open and operational, so they could basically walk in and serve the dinner there. and hopefully the investor because it was an investor who was going to invest in and set up a restaurant in the ashes of their old restaurant. They were going to try and get him to invest in keeping their restaurant open instead. He doesn't show up because he's got food poisoning, and but because all the family comes and they all reconnect, and that the family all decides to help her out with setting up another restaurant, which she does. And the daughter basically runs it, and she gets to basically go and do the things that she didn't get to do with her husband, and basically live a little instead of just working for the family. So it all ends very happily. Ben gets to say, I love you to her, which he didn't get to say to his mother, and it's all very therapeutic and healing and beautiful and nice. And then he leaps onto a battleship shooting at something. I thought it was going to be Pearl Harbor, but they were just in the water, so I don't know. But I'm going to go